The sands of Media burned under the weight of the sun. Caravans crept across the golden dunes. Merchants shouted in the marketplace. Messengers hurried through palace gates. The empire of Babylon never slept. And yet, in the midst of noise and pride, one man lived in peace. Daniel. His hair was silver, his eyes clear like dawn. He served King Darius, a ruler who had conquered kingdoms, but never conquered his own pride. Daniel was different. He didn't flatter. He didn't bow to power. He spoke truth when silence would have been safer, and that made him dangerous. Each morning before the sun rose, he opened his window facing Jerusalem. He knelt, rested his hands on the stone sill, and prayed, not loudly, not to be seen. He simply spoke to God, as a son speaks to his father. But in the palace, envy grows faster than palm trees. And Daniel's faith had become a thorn in the side of the proud. "Look at him," they whispered in the corridors. "He honors another king." And so the plot began. One afternoon, 3 officials approached King Darius. They bowed low, their voices sweet as honey, but behind their smiles, venom. "O king, live forever. Your kingdom is vast and your word is law. Let it be decreed. For 30 days, no one may pray to any god or man except you. O king, whoever disobeys shall be cast into the den of lions." The king hesitated, but pride is a quiet whisper that sounds like reason. He took his seal and signed the decree. That evening, heralds shouted the law across the empire. The people bowed in fear. But in Daniel's house, the window opened once more. He knelt, as he always did, and prayed. Outside, in the shadows, envious eyes were watching. They ran to the palace. "O king, we found the man who defies your law, Daniel, your servant." The words struck Darius like a blade. He froze. He knew, too late. What trap had been set? "Bring him here," he said softly. When Daniel was led into the throne room, he stood tall, calm, unbroken. The torches flickered. The court fell silent. "Daniel," said the king, "did you not know the decree?" "I knew," Daniel replied, "and still you prayed." "Yes, my king, for I serve a God greater than fear." The hall held its breath. Darius looked down. The words of his own law bound him like chains. He rose from his throne and said quietly, "May your God, whom you serve so faithfully, deliver you." That night, the guards led Daniel beyond the city walls. The desert wind howled. The sky burned red with the last light of day. From deep below came the low growl of lions. Ancient, heavy, alive. When they reached the pit, Daniel looked to the sky. "Lord," he whispered, "if this is my path, let your will be done." The guards lifted the stone lid. The sound of the lions filled the air, deep, resonant, final. King Darius turned away, unable to look. "Forgive me," he murmured. The stone was rolled into place. The earth trembled. Sand fell through the cracks, like time itself. And then silence. The darkness swallowed him whole. Night fell over Babylon, the city that once roared with laughter, now whispered in silence. Torches flickered. The air was heavy. Even the stars seemed afraid to look down. Inside the palace, King Darius could not rest. He walked in circles, a ruler trapped inside his own law. He had silenced the music, refused food and wine. But peace never came. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw Daniel. Calm, steady, unbroken. A man who feared nothing, not even death. The king pressed his hands to his face. His voice trembled. "What have I done? Oh God, what have I done?" But the heavens said nothing. Only the sound of his heartbeat answered him. Steady, accusing, alive. Far below, in the darkness, Daniel stood surrounded by shadows and breath. The lions moved slowly around him. Their eyes burned like fire in the pit. Their growls rolled like thunder beneath the earth. Daniel closed his eyes. He could feel their hunger, their power. And yet, something greater surrounded him, a stillness. A sacred silence, alive, waiting. He looked up. A faint light fell from the crack above. Dust sparkled in the beam, like stars lost in water. Then, the air shifted. A whisper, soft and not of this world. Golden light poured into the pit, and from the light, an angel appeared. He said nothing, he didn't have to. His presence silenced the world. The lions froze. One of them stepped closer and bowed its head. Then another. And another. The sound of their breathing filled the chamber deep and calm. The angel lifted his hand. Peace spread like light. Daniel fell to his knees. My lord, you are here. The angel touched his shoulder, and the fear was gone. The night became gold. The darkness turned holy. At dawn, the city stirred. King Darius rose before the sun. He hadn't slept. He hadn't eaten. He ran barefoot, breathless through the marble halls. Roll away the stone, he cried. The guards hesitated, then obeyed. Cold air burst from the darkness. The king leaned over the pit and shouted, Daniel, servant of the living God, was your God able to save you from the lions? Silence. A heartbeat, then a voice. Calm, clear, unbroken. O king, live forever. My God sent his angel. He shut the mouths of the lions. They have not harmed me, for I was found innocent before him and before you. The king froze. Tears filled his eyes, and then he laughed, a sound like a miracle breaking the dawn. Lift him out. Ropes lowered into the pit. Moments later, Daniel emerged. Whole. Untouched. The light of heaven still clinging to his robe. Darius embraced him. Your God truly lives, he said, and no power on earth can stand against him. Then he turned to the men who had deceived him, his voice sharp as iron. Bring them forward. When they neared the pit, the lions rose, and the ground itself seemed to tremble. The king turned away. Justice was done. Later that day, he wrote a new decree. Let all nations tremble before the God of Daniel. For he is the living God, his kingdom shall never end. He rescues and he delivers. He performs signs and wonders in heaven and on earth. That night, peace returned to Babylon. Even the lions slept by the entrance of the pit, as if the whole world had learned one eternal truth. Faith is stronger than fear. Morning crept over Babylon slowly, as if the sun itself doubted the night was truly gone. The city woke in silence. No heralds, no clatter of carts, only the breath of wind moving through the empty streets. It was the hush that follows awe, and every whisper carried a single name. Daniel. He was led from the pit, the guards walking behind him not as jailers, but as men afraid to touch the sacred. Barefoot, covered in dust, yet shining in the soft dawn light, he moved with the calm of one who had seen eternity and returned. At the palace gate, King Darius waited. No crown, no robe, only a man weary from his own guilt when he saw Daniel. His lips trembled. He took a hesitant step forward, then another, and finally embraced him fiercely, like a brother found after death. I am not worthy, the king whispered. None of us are. Daniel replied gently, but God always is. Darius raised his eyes, and something new burned there, not power, not pride, but humility. He turned toward the courtiers gathered in fear and said, You sought to prove the strength of law. God has shown the strength of truth. He lifted his hand. Let no man in my kingdom ever claim that a mortal may replace the eternal. Let every heart bow not to me, but to the one who saves." Silence fell. Even the conspirators, pale and trembling, could not speak. The king's gaze rested on them, not with anger, but with the sorrow of one who finally understands justice. That day, Darius issued a new decree. "Let all peoples and nations tremble before the God of Daniel, for he is the living God, and his kingdom shall never end. He rescues and he delivers. He works signs and wonders in heaven and on earth. He has saved Daniel from the mouth of lions." Messengers carried the words through the streets. Children repeated them. Elders wept openly. For the first time in generations, Babylon felt hope, not fear. That evening, Daniel sat beside the wall, watching the sun sink into the red dust of the desert. The air smelled of stone and myrrh. He thought of all who had fallen to pride, and of those who still might rise through faith. "Lord," he murmured, "I never asked for a miracle, yet you gave one. You didn't change the world, you changed our hearts." From beyond the city came a low, familiar sound: lions. Resting near the empty pit, breathed softly in the twilight. One raised its head and met his gaze. Daniel smiled. "We both serve the same master," he said. He rose, turning toward the city where lamps were beginning to glow. In every home, people spoke of the God who saves, and Daniel knew this was not an ending, it was a beginning. Years passed, kings rose and fell, empires crumbled, but the name of Daniel endured. His story traveled with caravans and prophets, across deserts and centuries. Old men told it at the city gates. Mothers whispered it to their children at night. He stood before death. They said, and did not tremble, for faith was his breath. And when someone asked, what is harder, to face the lions or to lose faith? The elders always answered, the pit you can survive, without faith you cannot. Night returned to Babylon once more. The moon rose above the sands, and in the sky a single star blazed brighter than all the rest. Perhaps the same one that had watched that pit of stone when man and God stood face to face. And the wind carried a whisper across the sleeping city, words that would live forever. Faith is stronger than fear, and light is always stronger than darkness.